love that meditation music. Well, hello from Open Pagan Church. Fire up Discord. Hello, Discord.
Good morning.
Looks like we got Lee with us this morning. Hello, Lee. So, how about this? The Pagan sabbaths, what we're going to be talking about. And I know those of us that have been in it a while, we know what the pagan sabbaths are, what they mean, where they come from, how they arrived. But there's a number of folk out there that are either just getting into the pagan philosophy or they're just simply curious. So, we're going to take a real quick pause for our sponsor, and then we'll be right back to talk about the pagan sabbaths. Enjoy. Well, we want to give a big thanks to Exile, Conan Exiles, and Cynical Server. On Cynical Server, you get 8 times boosted, drop on death, quick thralling, admin shop where you can get your goodies when you first log on, mandatory Discord, PvP events, and much more. Increased stamina. This is a PS4 format server. You can build your own clan, farm, and build your own buildings. We want to thank Cynical Server for sponsoring our broadcast today. Well, I have to say I quite enjoy Conan myself. I've kind of gotten into it. Of course, I run on a co-op server, so I don't have to worry about player versus player or player versus environment. So there you go.
Nice.
Well, I hope this finds everyone doing well. Looks like Facebook is running about a 3 to 5 second delay per normal. So here's a question. We know that there are 9 celebrated Sabbaths. Well, 8 really. Shamans celebrate 9, so we'll go off the standard ideological pagan Sabbaths, if you will. So I've got up a web page here, and I will copy and paste the web page I'm using for reference.
Morning, Clint. You just popped in.
Hey, morning, Clint.
Yeah, I had my first one canceled, so I can sit here and talk for a few minutes.
Oh, there you go.
Yay.
There you go.
Tell me about it after yesterday. I'll take it.
Hell of a day, huh?
11:30 last night when I got home.
Oh?
Yeah, it was a hell of a day.
Damn, dude.
Anyway, onward.
Onward. Onward, upward, and sideways.
Always love sideways.
Less energy sideways. So I've got pulled up, and I shared a link. If you guys on Discord would like, I'll post it here. Right, so I shared it over in Discord as well. And, you know, you guys may pick on me a little bit, but I've always quite liked the Books for Dummies series. They break it down absolute simple. I mean, the simplicity of it is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it is.
So we're going to start with Yule. Now, you know, the interesting part is pagan philosophies. We are, of course, a earth-based religion. We are a polytheistic religion. And we quite enjoy being able to go out and hug a tree. We love to be able to feel Mother Earth and the changing of the seasons. Even though the changing of the seasons, most of us, absolutely throw our allergies and sinuses off of the deep end.
And body.
And body, yeah, you know, the sudden temperature changes and what have you. But for people who are not aware of where most, if not all, of the other religious holidays comes from, and I don't want to just pick on Christianity, but all of the other good morning, Sabrina. All of the religions around the world come from the ancient earth-based philosophies which followed the seasons. The Egyptians built their pyramids and built their religions around the lunar and solar year cycle. So if we start with Yule.
Can I interrupt for a minute?
Yes, absolutely.
Sabrina, congratulations on your marriage.
Oh, marriage? Oh? What?
Yep. Yep, she got married 10/20.
Why the hell am I the last one to know?
'Cause you're never on.
I'm always on.
Well, you haven't looked because she posted it on her page.
Well, probably because when I clock in at 7 a.m. in the morning, I don't see my ass until 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Yes, congratulations to you, my sister. Right. So I have highlighted on the screen Yule is the longest night and the shortest day of the year. Thereby, it is what is also considered the birth of the sun, the rebirth of the sun, if you will. I wonder if that sounds familiar to anybody.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, anything but, you know, anything past that, anything past the facts, right? Yule is the longest night and the shortest day. Anything past that becomes more path specific. Wiccan, Shaman, Fae, Druid, whatever.
My favorite part is Loki that time of the year.
Say again?
The one I like is about Loki comes out this time of year because he's doing the trick-or-treat stuff.
Well, yeah, we're talking about that Samhain. That's like further down the map here.
No.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it is.
If you look it up, trick-or-treat
Hey, Cindy,
became...
we're
What?
talking about Yule.
Oh, sorry.
Ah,
I got my...
She's trying to pull a clinch. Stop that.
See? I got the calendar pulled up in front of me here.
But is it Samhain first?
No,
I mean, Samhain?
no. By
Nope.
the calendar, January is the calendar New Year. That's where I'm starting.
Okay, by the calendar, not by ours. All right.
Samhain, in many paths, right? Not all, but many pagan paths, Samhain is the pagan New Year. Not all pagan paths follow Samhain as the New Year. Now, I do because I'm shaman, and I know many Wiccans and witches do, but there are other paths out there that don't. So, then if we move to the next one, Imbolc. Imbolc is February, well, I guess I should put the year. You'll, depending on where you're at in the equator, you'll run from December 20th to December 23rd, depending on where on the equator you're at. Now, then there are what's known as SBATs. I always thought that sounded bad, SBATs. But SBATs are your mid-level, or what's considered by some paths as your lesser sabbaths. Cindy, I believe you probably used to study that, didn't you?
Yeah.
If you can remember that long ago?
Oh, it's pretty present lately.
There are many paths in paganism that believe you have higher Sabbaths and lower Sabbaths.
Yeah, and the Yule is the higher Sabbath, so we had the big celebration. I mean, they went balls to the walls, as I could put it.
Yep. Your Sabbaths are your SBATs, your lesser Sabbaths, would be considered what? Autumn?
All the equinoxes.
Equinoxes, that's it.
Thank you, Paul.
So if we take a look at Imbolc, Imbolc is the day of Bridget, or Bridget's Day, depending on the path you follow. And it generally is February 1st and or 2nd. So, in short, simplistically speaking, Imbolc is the preparation for spring. It's the getting ready of the revitalization of Mother Earth. The revitalization of Mother Earth is, depending on where you're at, Esther, spelled E-O-S-T-A-R, or Easter, Ostara, and I can't pronounce the German name O-E-S-T-A-R-R-A. I think it's still pronounced Ostara.
Yep, still a star.
And if you'll notice, all of your Sabbaths have roughly a 4-day celebration pattern. Anybody know why that is?
No?
Rising and falling.
Oh, rising and falling, Paul says.
Yep. Your lower Sabbaths are generally a 2-day following, because those are the between times. Now what I find is interesting is Ostara is a high Sabbath, but more people put more time and energy into Beltane. Anybody want to talk on that one?
Beltane is it?
Because Beltane is considered to be like the beginning of the planting season.
He says because it's the beginning of the planting season when the new the new harvest is being planted, refertilization of the earth.
Right. So the one that always fascinated me by Wiccans and witches, why would a lower Sabbath be held to be the highest of the holidays of Pagan?
Now, wait a minute. Wait, no. Okay, now.
He's gathering his thoughts.
It's not necessarily. We hold certain Sabbaths in high regard, just like y'all hold certain Sabbaths in high regard.
Right.
Okay? Now, there are 4 of each, 4 highs and 4 not so high. They correspond to the points, the 8 points. Also. Sorry.
Right.
But which one are you referring to? Beltane?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you go by the calendar, and I totally agree with you, Paul. I was trying to wind you up. Let me say this real quick. According to the calendar, okay, due to the flux and the shifting of where the sun travels across the equinox, your higher Sabbaths generally last 4 days. The celebration and your lower Sabbaths generally last 2 days. However, even in shamanism, Beltane is a higher Sabbath than Ostara. But by the calendar, in many paths, Ostara is a higher Sabbath than Beltane. Now, the point that I wanted to see Paul make, and a few others, is that your high or low Sabbaths depend on what path you follow and how important the different Sabbaths are to you.
Right. It also depends on region.
Right.
Back then, if you were in an agricultural region, Beltane was very important because you wanted to make sure that you pleased the gods and you wanted a good harvest or a good planting, so you got a good harvest.
Absolutely.
Now, if you were more in a more the word escaped me. If you weren't in an overly agricultural area, something like Ostara may be important, and Beltane would be considered a lesser.
Right. Also, too, Ostara was used for the fertilization of the ground. Many of your agricultural communities, even today, if you take a look at your agricultural communities, it tickles me because they really don't even know why they're doing it. It's just that time of year, so they do it. But Ostara is when the seeds are becoming more and more fertile and getting ready to start the plant, the germination, if you will.
That's when they start to break ground, let's say.
Right. So, you start turning your ground under, you start getting ready, you start fertilizing the ground for the spring equinox of Ostara. And then by Beltane, which is just around the corner, right? March, April, May. In May is when you're really doing your heaviest planting.
Right.
But I think the real point that I want newcomers to see, and people that are not quite sure of what the Sabbaths were about anyway,
Okay. Here, I was just fixing to say.
we
Go ahead.
we as pagan, we follow the seasons of the earth.
Right.
So, like you said a while ago, depending on where your region is, like for example, Litha, right? Litha, summer solstice, midsummer, whatever, is a 4-day celebration.
I'm
There's
out,
some,
guys.
huh?
I said I'm out, guys.
All right, Lester. I hope you feel better, brother.
Right.
But Don,
Yeah.
um, most of your Sabbaths, except for Samhain and Yule, if you look back, are agricultural celebrations.
Right.
Like you were saying, you've got Ostara, Beltane, Litha, and most of them were, because you got different planting seasons for different types of crops.
Right.
That was it. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're fine. A lot of people think that the pagan Sabbaths are all of this big mythological, mystical crap. And
No, because when they came to be, we were beating rocks and we living in grass huts. We didn't have what we have now. We were agricultural.
yeah, absolutely.
That was the main economic drive back when all this started. And if you didn't have a successful
If you didn't have a successful harvest,
right, you went under. You were poor,
well, you starved to death most of the time too.
Well, that mostly is all. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so that's what a lot of the new young pagans don't understand. And what most of the earth based faiths are about is harvest.
Yeah. You plant, you cultivate, you cultivate, you plant.
Or hunt. Some of them were about hunting.
Right? Well, hunting was year round. But
right, but a lot of tribes and walks and stuff did hunting at certain times to prepare for winter.
right.
So some of your summer your summer Sabbaths would be your like Ostara would be getting ready for a good hunt, and what is it? Is that Litha that's at the end of what's at the end of summer?
Litha is the summer solstice or midsummer.
Right, and then there's
Lugnasad, or yeah, it's called Lugnasad,
which
or
would have
Lemon.
happened not too long ago.
Right.
Okay, those would be your hunting Sabbaths because you're hunting to get ready for winter so you don't starve.
Right.
Sorry,
Oh no, you're fine. So if we continue just a little bit further with Beltane, a lot of your Wiccan and witchcrafts follow the Beltane, the marriage and the union of the goddess and the Mother Earth, and the god of the Greenwood, or the Green Man, depending on where you're from.
The horned god.
Yes. Also, the interesting part, anybody that's ever studied the Great Rite, the Great Rite is also practiced on Beltane. Because Beltane is considered the most fertile time of year. Hence why 9 months later there was a population boom. Between 8 and 9 months later.
It's gonna be funny how the population is gonna boom because of the hurricane.
Well, you now think about this. There's already a population boom happening because of the pandemic.
Yep.
And I find it interesting, I got bored one evening, so I started poking around at statistics. The divorce rate and the birth rate have both gone up together.
Yes. just like the violence is going up. They're talking about it down here really bad.
Oh yeah. Social violence, environmental abuse. Yeah, all of that's going way up.
Way up.
So, where when our ancestors were drawing out the sabbaths, if you will, a lot of people don't realize there was an actual science to it. I mean, the actual science was the people living that time. So we now move on to Litha, summer solstice or midsummer. That was kind of what we were talking about a while ago. That's another high Sabbath because it's considered a 4-day ritual.
That would be down here. Would be the longest
Yes,
day.
correct. The longest day of the year.
Yes. Yule, not Yule.
Yes, you'll
Yule's the longest night for us.
Right.
And the longest day is Litha.
Okay,
right.
you're right.
It's Debbie that's the longest night.
Right. So, if we move on down to Lugnasad, depending on where you're at, sometimes it's called Lammas, sometimes it's called Lugnasad, and then there's a German enunciation for it there that I think is still the same as Lugnasad. Just has a more Germanic twist to it. Now, the interesting part is, for many pagans, Lugnasad was a time of both hope and fear. Anybody want to touch on why?
Because that's when, in the old days, wasn't it the sacrifice of the animals?
Yeah, there were some cultures that sacrificed the animals, but it was essentially hope and fear because for the bountiful harvest. The fear would be that the winter would not have been so bad, the rainy season would not have been so bad that it washed out or froze the fields. So Lugnasad, getting ready for the harvest, they were praying for a bountiful harvest. They were hoping that things would become right or get ready for a good summer.
You want to hear something different I found out?
Okay.
It's political. It sounds funny, but during not before the pandemic, the politician had the first round of voting on Lugnasad. Within that first week, we usually have elections of the officials in the minor part of the government.
County.
Countywide,
Right,
statewide.
right.
They had planned it that way because of people with their religions and stuff. They would coincide with it to benefit the people of politicians. But
You know who actually formulated most of those um,
dates,
dates and elections and such?
the Romans.
Romans and the Masonic Lodge.
Yep.
The Masons had a whole lot to do with the voting dates that surrounded the pagan calendar.
Yes.
Now, did you cover the fact that the pagan calendar is not the Roman calendar?
No, I did not, but thank you for that.
There is a big difference between the two.
There is, absolutely. Now, you want to see something funny as hell, okay?
The pagan calendar is 28 days.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, no, he's right. You're right. The pagan calendar is 28 days, and it does not have an alternate.
A woman is a pagan calendar.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, boy. Well, I mean, pagans are a matriarchal society, aren't we? We follow the goddess.
That's because, yes, and the ebb and flow of the woman's mood, let's say.
Yes.
Good cover.
What some cultures call the moon time.
It's societally it's called the lunar calendar.
Yeah.
Onward.
So, yeah, I mean, now,
That's a very and that's an important point to all of this you're talking about still, though, is the lunar calendar.
well, yeah, you have a solar calendar, you have a lunar calendar,
And then
And-
you've got the Roman calendar, which what we live by today.
correct. And the reason we live by the Roman calendar today is because it's more consistent with the way Mother Earth rotates on her axis around the sun.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you think about it. The axis tilt of the Earth, the rotation and the flow, the ebb and flow of the different seasons around the sun and the moon. Well, the moon rotates around us, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
All of that is what solidified the Roman calendar. Because it's easier to track. Now, this is one that that I really wanted to bring to play here and have a little fun with.
There you go.
The last, well, Mabon is before Samhain, but of course Mabon is the harvest.
Right.
It's the fall equinox. It's a very, very important 4-day celebration because they would use those 4 days to do the harvest. My apologies, I almost missed Mabon. Shame on me.
Uh-huh.
That's right, y'all got to keep me straight.
We are.
And that's usually Mabon and Ostar were the biggest feasts of the harvest year.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And you want to hear something interesting?
Now I emphasize harvest
Yes. Yes.
because Samhain and Yule had large feasts also, but for spiritual reasons.
Right. They had essentially nothing to do
With harvest.
with harvest or planting or fertilization or anything of that nature.
Right. Samhain or Samhain was connecting with your past and your ancients.
Right.
And Yule was the celebration of the going to sleep, or air quotes, the death of the earth, preparing for
The awakening, right? The awakening of the sun.
right. Well, it's where the earth, the mother crone, passes away and gives way for the rebirth of the new god in Imbol,
Right.
or Osara.
Now you want to hear something funny?
Am I right?
Yeah. Well, in Wicca and witchcraft, yes, shamanism. We're not that much. We're not that much far off. Shamanism, Yule is the rebirth of the sun. It's the coming of a new. We are coming out of our dark cycle. Yule is when we are coming out of that dark cycle. Samhain is when we're going into it. Now, if you want to hear something funny,
Samhain is we're going into it, and Osara is when we're coming out.
right? Do you know that Mabon, the fall equinox, right? The biggest harvest party, when you're harvesting the earth, you're pulling the vegetables, you're getting everything ready for the winter. Mabon is the most forgotten Sabbath of all of the pagan Sabbaths.
Yeah, Mabon
Nowadays.
Mabon in Europe, I guess, is where there's autumn harvest, is where the grapes, nuts, and apples, and that's the part where they do it for the harvest to go into the winter and make sure they have plentiful
Right.
for the hardship of
Right.
winter.
Right.
In Europe, they still celebrate Mabon.
Oh, I did. We do too in the pagan philosophy, but
I know, but I'm talking in today's society. In Europe, they still celebrate Mabon. Here, we don't.
well, we do, many don't, because you would be absolutely amazed at how many people think that apples and oranges and meat come from Walmart.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a pig here.
They,
Yeah, wow.
so many people have forgotten, and mainstream society that lives in the big cities, they have forgotten the purpose of the fall equinox. And then we come to one of my most favorite holidays,
Mm.
Samhain.
Or Samhain.
Samhain, Samhain, All Hallows Eve. Now, let's have a little fun with this one.
Okay.
Huh?
The night of the Great Pumpkin.
Yes. And I am quite pissed off that Charlie Brown's Great Pumpkin will not be shown on public TV because Apple bought the rights to it.
You hadn't got it yet?
Don't even get me started.
Okay.
Cindy, I'll let you explain it to him later.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, in America, what day is November 1st?
All Saints Day.
No. Political.
No,
Oh.
3rd. It's November 3rd.
Second.
No, it's November 3rd.
It is November 3rd, but between November 1st and November 3rd, early voting stops on October 31st.
No, 30th.
30th. Sorry.
Here it's 30th.
Right. But the presidential election storm is between November 1st through November 3rd. That's the storm. That is when everything goes completely batshit crazy,
Yeah, the push.
and we can thank the Masons for that.
Thank you, Daddy.
If you'll notice, election days follow the pagan calendar. Real freaking close. Eh,
Yeah.
Sabrina
dad-
says, WTF, no great pumpkin? Yeah, Google it, girlfriend. Apple jacked us up on that one.
I can hear that. Anyway, yeah, my father was a Mason. He's passed away now, I can say
Right.
that. And towards the end, I guess you could call it, with his life, you could tell the Masonry teaching came out more. Because he started to discuss some of the holidays with me, and we could actually sit down and talk about my holidays and his teachings. It was kind of spooky.
You know, if you look at the Masonic rites of passage
Yep, definitely.
through their rituals,
Mm-hmm.
But they're considered to be a Christian based.
Don't get me started on them.
No, I know. But the Masons are supposedly supposed to be air quotes Christian based, but they're not.
no, because if you take a look at their rituals and the challenge of the circle,
Right.
Uh-huh.
The only reason they hide behind Christianity is so they could not so much openly, but freely exist without persecution.
right.
So anyway, back to Samhain.
So they're sellouts.
Well, yeah, but you know, I find it funny. I have an absolute blast with Samhain.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Like,
But the problem is nowadays, if you ask a kid, you can't ask them what does Samhain mean. You have to say what does Halloween mean, and the one and only word that comes out of their mouth is
hey,
candy.
oh yeah. Well,
You know, it's just like Yule. What does Yule mean? Present.
yeah. But that is what society has taught.
No. That is what Christianity has taught.
no.
Well,
Yes.
wait a minute. Now, hang on. We're splitting the atom here, okay?
Yes, we are.
I'm
But
sorry.
no, you're fine. You're fine. Well, let's think about something, okay? Society runs, operates, and functions on a monetary system, right?
Yeah, the almighty dollar.
Right. The only thing that Thanksgiving brings many people is what's considered Black Friday,
Yeah.
where everybody goes shopping and goes batshit crazy for the holidays.
We don't have. Oh no, because that has nothing to do with spiritualism.
No.
Never mind.
No. And, you know, right. But here's a question for you. And I seriously want to think about this. How many pagans have themselves lost connection to the sabbaths?
A lot.
I don't have enough toes.
Oh, right. Yeah, I hear you. And sadly, life gets in the way, and people don't make the time to go outside on the Sabbaths and hug a tree, light a candle, light a small fire if you can, I know that the area I live in now has a pretty much year-round burn ban. We can't have a bonfire. We have to go get permits for a bonfire. So, have we not lost context of what our own religious Sabbaths are about?
Yes, because of all the commercializing in it.
Yeah, the commercialization.
And again, I go back to my previous statement. It's all been iced over by
Not just Christianity. I'm sorry, it's not just Christianity. It's the human race has done this.
no. Look at history. Look at history.
Well,
Why are we not the percentage of us that are actually recognized versus the percentage of the Christian faiths that are recognized is all because they feel we're evil and we don't follow the one true God, so they don't want us recognized.
I get that. I think the thing, though, that most concerns me as far as pagans go, right? People who profess to be polytheistic pagans that have allowed ourselves to become commercialistic. When asked, are you going, what do you do? All right, Samhain is just around the corner. At the time of this video, October 17th, October 25th, 2020. Hell, I was looking at the time. When you ask most pagans today, what are you doing for Samhain? Nothing? Boy, somebody broke up bad. Do what, Clint?
I said, and most of them don't have an answer for that.
No, they don't. Sadly, because of where we live and the environment, we're probably not going to do anything for Samhain. The five of us here will probably have a sit-down feast, maybe the lighting of a candle, and having the feast to the ancestors with the thinning of the veil. But in all seriousness, people, not just young people of all ages that are curious about the pagan philosophy, that are curious about what paganism is. It just fascinates the hell out of me as to how many people I see willing to pay for witchcraft classes, shamanism classes, how to be a fae. What? I've seen people that are charging for druidic classes. What the hell? Does anybody realize what my council would do to me if I tried to pay for shaman classes?
Yeah. Or charge.
Oh my God. But in all honesty, and does anybody else have anything they want to add to the pagan Sabbath?
Nope. Just
We never hit you.
yeah, we did.
Yeah, we
At the
did.
beginning.
We started with you.
You were asleep.
Yeah, well, that is calendar.
Just if you're new to the practice, do more research on it. If you have questions, there's a bunch of us here that you can contact from the webpage or Discord
Or Messenger.
or
Messenger. Yeah. I mean, there are ways upon ways of getting in touch with good people. And I
If we
mean,
don't-
go ahead.
Hey, wait. Samhain is my anniversary too. I got married on Samhain.
Yeah, mine. Well, mine, Jewel.
Yeah. But just teach your young ones the Sabbath, guys.
Yeah.
It's losing. We need to get back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest, most important thing I can offer up, walk the talk. I mean, if you're going to jump up and down and holler, I'm pagan, then know what the hell it is that you can holler once you start hollering, I'm pagan. Know what the hell it is you're going to be doing. Don't be a weekend pagan. Sabrina, PM me immediately after church. Well, Facebook message me. Shit, whatever you want to call it. Well, hey, you guys. I want to wish each and every one of you a happy upcoming Samhain. Remember the ancestors, remember where you're from, and remember who the hell you are. Other than that, keep smiling. You know, if you smile at people, it makes them worried. They don't know what you're going to do when you smile at them when they're being an asshole. Keep that in mind.
Great.
We love you all. Blessed be. Have a great day. And we'll see you next time right here on Open Pagan Church.